So you design according the client preferences and their needs and their lifestyle, not going more into like just focused on aesthetics. Are there any common mistakes that you have seen that clients make while doing the selection?
So for you, good design is
Yeah.
different. For me, for
Yeah.
client, for each and everyone.
Yeah.
Even for the family members also, the understanding about the good design or definition of a good design is very different.
Yeah.
I feel that whatever you are charging, always give more than what you are charging.
Hello, myself Kami Kadiwar and welcome to the Wisdom Walk series. Today we have Ninad Monpara with us, who is the principal designer of Shades and Shape Studio. Hello Ninad.
Hello, hello.
Can you tell us a bit about your background and what drew you towards design?
So basically, I come from an engineering background, which really given me a solid foundation for analytical thinking and problem solving. So I always was a curious guy, or maybe curious kid, you can say that, who always observed how people interact with the spaces and environment. And this curiosity only, grown in a passion, which helped me create good iconic spaces, focusing on the client experiences and the good aesthetics of interior design. And since then only, I've been running my studio since 9 years successfully.
So, how you got into interior designer, and can you tell a bit about your background?
Yeah. So basically, I come from engineering background, and it helped me a lot. It has given me a solid foundation for analytical thinking and problem solving. I was always curious when it comes to spaces, how people interact with the environment, how environment helps or maybe impacts the lifestyle of people, whether it be a residential or a commercial space. And this only grown into a passion as uh, to design spaces which help people in lifestyle or business aspects. And then after, I started my own studio as a Shades and Shape Studio, and it has been running since 9 years successfully.
Oh, that's lovely. So, what inspired you to start your own interior design firm?
So basically, the thing with me is I always look at the spaces from my own lens, right? And I felt that a space should really reflect people's lifestyle, and it is not just the aesthetics, right? It is also having a functional aspect towards any space or any element related to interior design. So, and I observed there was a clear gap in interior design industry, how the services were delivered in terms of especially communication and client experience. So it really motivated me to start my own studio, and we always focus on those gaps, especially in experience and the communication. So that was it, which motivated me to start my own studio.
So, how has your approach to design evolved since you started your career?
So basically, when I started, I was always focused on aesthetics, like everybody does, right? And whenever we talk about interior design, everybody feels that it is just aesthetics, right? But over a period of time, doing few projects, I started to learn that interior design is not just about aesthetics. It also has a deeper level, or maybe it should have a deeper level in terms of problem solving for residential or commercial project, whatever you are doing, right? And once you solve a problem in terms of functionality, you should layer it with the aesthetics and give it as a complete package as interior design. So that is what I've learned, or maybe my approach towards interior design has evolved that way. Yes.
So, what would you say are the defining characteristics of your design style?
Okay. So we do not have any specific characteristic as a design style. We mainly focus on clients' needs and value propositions, right? Because I really feel that if a space, whether it be a residential, commercial, or retail space, it is for client. So it should be made around the client's requirements, right? We are not there to fulfill our wishes and our portfolio for the client's home or the offices, right? It should be very well designed around the need and functionality or value proposition for the client only. And it only happens when you go deeper into conversations with the clients, know more about their lifestyle, their requirements, or maybe their customers' lifestyle, or maybe their customers' approach toward the spaces if it is a retail space, and what problem they want to solve if it is a commercial space, whether it be a factory office, or it be a back office, BPO, IT office, or corporate house. So everything has a defined perspective about the spaces, and we should look at it from the client's perspective especially, and give a solution towards fulfilling those aspects. And of course aesthetics is also there.
I heard that your studio has a system of good SOPs. So why do you think it is required, and why have you built a system like that?
So basically, for our studio, our client is the hero, right? Whatever and whenever everything happens, it happens just and just for the clients. So before I tell you that, I would like to have a brief about, give you a brief about what client is going through when they hire interior designers, right? If I draw a virtual graph, on the y-axis it's a client's experience or maybe client's happiness index, and on the horizontal x-axis it is a time, right? So when we look back in a family of a typical residential project, client is at normal level, right? And then after they as a family discuss that now it's time to move into a new house, let's buy a new house, then everybody's excitement level rises, right? They go explore new houses, 3 bhk dekhte hain, 4 bhk dekhte hain, लोगों से मिलते हैं, they see explore, right? So their excitement level rises with the time, right? And once they book it, right, at the booking it is at peak, everybody celebrates, everybody shares good memories, right? And then after it is normalizing. Once after a few years or after few months, when it is time for or the what we call it, delivery or maybe handover of the house,
Yeah.
most of the time it is very late, right? So everybody would have their plans, be it a school of kids or be it changing the jobs, so or maybe selling old house or maybe vacating the rental property. तो वो सब चीज़ों में what happens that their experience is deteriorated, right? So before that, when they book the house, it is at peak, and now it is at the lowest level. And then after a few discussions and few months, builder has given the possession. The same thing happens when they hire interior designers, right? So they look for the interior designing studio or maybe freelancers, and their excitement level goes up. And when they hire interior designer and the designing process is going on, they are exploring some materials and they are exploring ideas, designs, right? And their excitement level is up. And then after again the same thing happens, right? Designers delay or maybe execution team delays the work, the quality is not maintained, proper communication is not done, client is miscommunicated or kept in the dark. So all these problems are there, and it is because it is very difficult field, no, because you are dependent on very unorganized people and you are delivering your work to very organized people. So it is very difficult to deliver your services in this industry. Now I tell you that the main focus for the studio for designing all the SOPs and protocols is client experience, right? No matter what your budget is, no matter where you live, no matter what is your background, people buy their homes and offices not more than 10 times in their lives, right? Before that, the previous generation has bought, and after that, the next generation will buy. So you deserve a good experience. That is what we focus on, right? आपका 15 लाख का बजट है, 1.5 करोड़ का है, 15 करोड़ का है. Whatever your budget is, you deserve a good experience. When you are moving into the new house, you should not feel like, चलो curtain we will take in afterwards, right? घड़ी बाद में लगा लेंगे, सोफा नहीं आया चलेगा, सफाई खुद से कर लेंगे. So that should not be the case, right? And to solve this problem only of the client experience, we have made SOPs in the place.
Okay.
So all the SOPs have three main aspects. One is clear communication. Second is the proper transparent, what we call it, transparency. And the third one is the documentation. And all three things as a combined is SOPs for the studio.
Can you tell us about how you take a new project? What is the process that you go through?
So basically, process is kind of a lifeline for our studio, right? SOPs is kind of a lifeline for our studio. Everything and anything happens in the studio is as per the SOPs, and over a period of time we definitely improve it. So whenever new project comes, first of all, the TAT for giving the timeline is 1 day. So whenever the new project comes, we give the timeline of the project to the client on the same day or maybe the next day. So that way client is, expecting when the things will be delivered, right? So most of the times what happens, if you do not give the TAT or you don't give the timeline, PTL, right? Client will ask middle of the night के भाई मेरे को 3D कब मिलेगा, right? When the things will start, right? How much time do you need between two stages, right? So all these expectations are really properly set when you give the timeline. Then after we have divided the whole consultation or maybe project designing into several milestones, right? So first milestone is we call it a client wish meeting, right? So in that meeting, everybody from the client's family or maybe client's business partners sit with the designing team and they wish for the things, right?
Okay.
We have so many questions, like 50, 60 questions for that meeting, but we tell client don't hesitate, right? Just imagine that you have everything at your disposal and you wish for whatever you want, right? And then after we will see what is possible and what is not. We will prioritize the things, and then after we start with the functional aspects. So functional aspects, if we start, then space planning is there, ergonomics is there. So for space planning, ergonomics, we have separate meetings. In ergonomics, we first do the check all the functional aspects. So by the third meeting, all the functional aspects are checked. For residential projects, if we say that the how much storage they want, whether they will keep their clothes folded or hanged, what kind of appliances do they want, what would be the sizes of the appliances, whatever they want to carry from the old house or old office, we will take the measurements of those dabbas, 5 kilo, 1 kilo, 500 grams, all the dabbas of masalas and everything. We take the measurements and we will set all the things into the place, and then after we will cover up with the good aesthetics. So from the fourth meeting, we show everything in the 3D, right? Like I've said, setting up the right expectation is the first thing we should have with the client, right? So that way we deliver each and every designs in the 3D only. So because we do not know like how much technical the client is. If you show in the 2D, then he might misunderstand the things, right? So starting from the kid to the senior citizen, everybody understands the pictorial form. So we deliver all the designs in the 3Ds, and all the alterations or maybe changes are always done in the 3D, right?
Okay.
So we have efficient process in terms of 3Ds, and then after we follow it with the material selection and the detailed drawings. Everything is documented very beautifully. Like for example, client wants after to change anything after 5 years also, he has a good documentation with him, and that way design the whole project. And in the execution also, it is also rightly placed SOPs. We start with the marking on the sides from the floor to wall to the ceiling. In execution also, we give a proper timeline to the client. So it is helping us and him also. He gets certainty that when the project will complete, and we get the certainty when the cash will be flown, right? So in designing and execution, that way we have SOPs in the place.
So, what do you think like technology plays a role in interior design?
So technology plays a very important and vital role for interior designing. And for if I talk about my studio, then we have ERP CRM system. We have all the data on the ERP CRM. We have Microsoft 365
What
and
is
everything.
ERP and CRM system that you mentioned?
So ERP system is like starting from the hiring of the candidate to payroll, HR, and cash flow management, payments, accounts, expenses. Everything is done in ERP, and CRM is sales software, right? So when the lead comes from reference or maybe social media or direct call, it is registered into the CRM, and all the follow-ups and everything is registered into the CRM. So whenever after, let's say that people start exploring, so what happens in sales, it is a very typical client flow when they are exploring interior designing or maybe anything to buy. First, they are very much excited and they explore the interior designer's options, and they put the leads or inquiries everywhere. So they get the data, and then after they become silent, right? It's a kind of a ghosting period from the customer side, for depending upon when their possession. As I've said that possession always gets delayed from the builder side most of the times. So there is a ghosting time which they have towards the whole communication. And after let's say 5-6 months, when we again contact the customer, we have all the data into the system, that what was the communication before, whether he was interested or not, what was the given quotation, what services he wanted to opt for, etc. Right? So that is a CRM. And talking about the technology, as I've said that ERP and CRM is a very vital things in our studio, and we also have documentation in Microsoft Office 365. We also have a good drafting and 3D tools So everything is, revolving around technology apart
Yeah.
from the hard copies.
Yeah.
So I think technology plays a vital role. And nowadays AI is also there into
Yeah.
interior design. So you just give a prompt in
Yeah.
voice or text form and it gives you the result.
Yeah.
And I think in future it will only increase.
So before we reach to execution, there's a lot of things before that, like material selection and all. So what is your approach towards it? How do you go about it?
Yes. So in execution, material selection is very important, right? So using right material at the right place is very vital to any project. And material selection is very tough for the clients. For designing team or maybe the team who is designing the project is very routine for them, so they do not get tired or maybe exertion is not for them. But when it comes to clients, after maybe half an hour or 1 hour, they are very much exerted. And nowadays what happens, most of the times, if you're a freelancer or you do not have a material library, then you have to carry, or maybe client has to go or come with you to the different places, right? There is no any aggregated place where you can select all the materials as an external service provider. But the approach towards material selection should be that it should be very flawless, because client is not fresh after 2 hours only, right? And without fresh mind, client will not be very confident about material selection. And if the client is not confident, then he is not confident about your service. And again, after material is executed, he will have doubt in his mind, and he will again ask you whether this is looking right or wrong, and you will have to convince the client, भाई नहीं ये सही लग रहा है, हमने उस दिन सिलेक्ट किया था. And client would not be able to recall कि किया था नहीं किया था क्या था, and he might ask you कि भाई मुझे और explore करना है, and the things might get complicated, right? And one more thing I would like to highlight is that whenever we design in 3D, we put the readily available materials only. For an example, there is a kitchen countertop, right? So in the kitchen countertop only we explore. So basically, our senior designer and designers team are aware about what are the materials available and about the client's experiences. Whether the most of the times in kitchen, client either want white or client either want black. Most of the times, right? So in those kind of shades, or maybe they want beige or something like that, then in those shades, in quads or maybe in solid tiles or homogeneous materials, what are the materials available, and we explore those materials before putting into the 3D. And whatever material is available readily, we put it in the 3D and show it to the customer. So at the time of selection, it is there. The client has selected these things. It is there to available. It is there available as a purchase material or maybe ready to purchase. Then there is no any issue.
3D makes the job easier.
True.
So when we talk about trends in design, so what would be your current favorite when it comes to tiles?
When it comes to tiles, my current favorite is big tile slabs.
Okay.
Right, because it saves time.
Okay.
Right, and the secondly, the joints are less.
Yeah.
So the surface looks very seamless. Right. And nowadays, such tiles are available which look like very realistic marble and very fraction of the cost. And I feel that it is highly durable compared to the Italian marble or any marble, right? So I feel that big tile slabs are my current favorite as a trend.
How do you approach tile selection for different spaces?
As I've said, that functionality plays a very important role, right? So wherever the tiles are being used, we should see that what is the purpose, right? It might be that in the tiles, in the kitchen, right, you want glossy tiles because glossy tiles are easy to clean. Matte tiles absorbs or maybe retains some foreign particles. If it is about bathrooms, then anti-slippery tiles are there. So we first decide the functionality of the tiles. Okay. If you want to modernize your home and you are fine with it, then we would like to go with matte tiles with big slabs. So, and major of the times, tiles is not the when it comes to floor, tiles is not the highlighting element, but it is always there. If you notice it, then you want the tiles to be there, looking good, but not at the highlighting element, right? When it comes to the walls, it is like highlighting element, and it should serve a purpose of floor or walls, whatever the purpose is, or whatever the usability is. And most of the times in outdoors also, nowadays people tend to do mistakes about, they go with polished quota and everything, but I feel that those materials are very slippery. So you should go with functionality as It should not be slippery first of all outside, and it should
Okay.
be durable. So that way I feel that tile selection should be done.
So, like texture tiles are more of a preference when it comes to outdoor.
Yes, texture tiles, but non-slippery.
Okay. So, how bespoke you are when it comes to tiles?
So tiles plays a very major role, as I've said,
Mhm.
right? So I'll give you 4 examples. First is, nowadays we want the same tile in glossy finish on the walls and matte finish in the floor in the bathrooms, right? So there are tile manufacturers or there are tile companies who manufacture tiles in such a way that the same design is available in glossy in the wall and anti-slippery in the floor. So that is one. Second is, most of the times for residential projects, people do like show off, you say, or maybe have more budget, or they spend more in common areas like living room, dining and kitchen and foyers, etc. So we have purchased the tiles which was available in 2 sizes, bigger size for the common areas and the smaller size for the rooms, to maintain the whole theme and the vibe of the place. The third example is, we have done a corporate house where of a builder, where he bought few samples, or maybe we bought few samples from the Selvasa, and we asked the tile manufacturer to provide the scanned copy as a design, as a tile. So it was a kind of a copy of the marble. And the fourth one is, for retail projects like restaurants and cafes, it is very bespoke, right? Because they want to give vibe and feel as a bespoke to
Yeah.
their visitors as well. So we ask manufacturers to print the tiles as per the design and
Okay.
bake the tiles and provide it to us. So
Oh.
these are the way we are very bespoke about the tile selections.
So let's talk about sustainability. So when it comes to tile selection, how is your approach towards sustainability with the selection?
So sustainability starts with using optimum materials, right? So we draft, or maybe we design the places where we provide the drawings and plan the tile selection and the laying of the tiles in such a way that there is minimum to minimum material wastage is there. So number one, material is not wasted. So it is again comes in the sustainability, and we try to use natural materials to paste the tiles, or maybe less chemicals or eco-friendly materials for tiles pasting. And we tend to select the companies or tiles who are more into eco-friendly tiles, or who are towards less carbon impact on the environment. It depends upon the manufacturer as well as the studio's aspect, or maybe it depends upon the manufacturer as well as the studio's approach towards style selection.
So do you see any demand or growth for eco-friendly tiles?
Yes. So in India, it is still at very basic level for eco-friendly tiles, because eco-friendly tiles is not easy to produce in mass productions, and there is also less demands of it. But eco-friendly tile will definitely grow more in terms of demand and supply in future, because nowadays for small projects we have had few clients who demanded for handmade tiles, or hand baked tiles, or Gruh Udyog tiles or something like that, because they wanted to have tiles which are not harmful for the environment. But I feel right now it is not that much in demand, but in future, as the demand increases and the supply increases, I feel that it will increase in future only.
Okay. What advice would you give to the owners when they are overwhelmed with the selection of tiles?
It is very difficult for a non-technical person to select the tiles. But I feel that if you want to do the tile selection right, then you should first focus on the practical aspects of it. What kind of budget you have, where it is being used, and what practicality or functionality you want from the tiles. Once that is done in place, then you can go for aesthetics, like whether you want in beige tone or grey tone or reddish tone, or whatever the tone of the tile is. Whether you want in a matte finish or glossy finish, it again comes with the aesthetics and the practicality. But go to, I would say, if I would just summarize, then go to a good brand, or maybe display of a good brand, where there would be someone assisting you as per your needs, or maybe hire an expert. Contact an interior designer if you're not hire an interior designer, to get some idea about what kind of tiles they should select, because they might not give you the proper selection, but they will definitely help you to avoid the mistakes, right?
Okay. So, are there any common mistakes that you have seen that clients make while doing the selection?
Common mistakes there are, first of all, never select the tiles from the photographs,
Okay.
right? Because it is not as per the photographs. Secondly, do not select tiles from the small pieces. Look at the big pieces. If you have a good MOQ or BOQ amount, then ask the company to provide you few selected tiles and lay over on the floor and look at, or maybe walk on it and have a proper feel of it, because it will always be there.
Yeah.
Third one is, in whatever orientation the tiles will be used, put it in that same orientation, and then after check it whether you want to select it or not, because most of the times, not most of the times, but few of the times, tiles tend to change the hue, or maybe change the glossiness, or
Hmm.
maybe change the aesthetics. Because if you put the tiles on the wall,
Hmm.
then it is not necessarily true that it would look the same on the floor. So if
Hmm.
the tiles is going to be used on the floor, then put it on the floor and then select. And if it is going to be used on the wall, then keep it on the wall and select. So these are the few things which where you can avoid wrong tile selections.
Is there any specific project where you have used the tiles in a very innovative way and it turned out to be very good? Is there any specific experience like that before?
So there was a corporate house. The length of the house was 186 feet, and
Uh-huh.
the height was 3 storied,
Okay.
right? So it was 14 feet of floor, and 40 to 45 feet was the height.
Hmm.
So initially we have selected the material as a textured,
Hmm.
right? But then after client wanted to spend more because he wanted, you know, to do the marketing and IPOs and
Hmm.
everything. So then after we started exploring the other options which are more expensive and more
Hmm.
posh,
Hmm.
right? So we explored Travertine marble and few other marbles as a
Hmm.
cladding, granite as a cladding. But then after, eventually we selected tiles, and it
Okay.
was looking very phenomenal.
Uh-huh.
It was very mesmerizing, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. And that was a very memorable thing for me, because initially we started with just the texture and we ended up having tiles
Tiles,
cladding,
yeah.
and for customer also it was very overwhelming in terms of good feelings.
Are there any upcoming innovation in tile design or manufacturing that you are excited about?
Innovations, so I would say that 3D printed tiles is one of the things which I'm excited about, since the 3D printing was there, or maybe started in the industry. I'm follower of it. So in tiles also there are some innovations going on in terms of 3D printing. In future, color changing tiles are also there,
Oh,
right? Depending on the temperature, the tiles would change the color.
oh.
A few companies are exploring in eco-friendly tiles, which filters out the air and increases oxygen, or maybe captures the particles, etc. So such kind of practicality might also evolve in future trends. So I'm excited about these trends.
Yeah, those are like very exciting new technology driven.
Right.
So, reflecting on your journey, what advice would you give to the new interior design entrepreneurs out there?
I would say that focus on learning,
Okay.
and start developing SOPs as early as possible, because it is very unorganized field. And if you want to really, be productive and efficient about the designs or execution, or giving ideas to customer, then these are the things which you should first start with.
What are some biggest challenges new interior entrepreneurs might face and how can they overcome?
So biggest challenge in terms of interior design is, nowadays interior designing is at your disposal, right? If you
Hmm.
open Instagram and search interior design, the Instagram will repeatedly show you your interest and everything.
Mhm.
So in this very crowded ideation wala market, it is very difficult for you to stick to your original idea and convey to the customer, when customer is
Hmm.
going through a lot of
Yeah.
ideas at the same time and exploring other things.
Yeah.
So identify the problem,
Hmm.
state it towards customer, and
Hmm.
identify it and confirm it, and then I have to provide the interior designing and aesthetics around it, so it will
Hmm.
help you, you overcome the convincing customers
Hmm.
का जो भी difficulty है वो.
Yeah. Um, it's more of a family kind of thing when it comes to designing home. So one person might want this and the other person might want a very different thing. The kids might want very different thing. How do you balance that?
It is very difficult, to be honest, right?
Uh-huh.
So first of all, there are one, two, or maximum three decision makers in a family,
Huh.
right? And you as a designer also want that the harmony should be maintained in the home, right? So whenever you ask the people and if their opinions are different about the things, then you discuss with them. You come to a certain level where you can ask them कि भाई ऐसा क्यों चाहिए, right? For an example, husband and wife, two people are living in a bedroom. Then wife said that I need the lighter and airy vibe, and husband might need भाई मेरे को तो dark चाहिए, I need a cozy space, right? So you have to balance it out in terms of, first of all, you tell them the purpose of their bedroom, right? Because most of the times people go in their bedroom at nights only, right? In the daytime either they are working or spending their time in kitchen and living room and dining area or maybe common areas, right? So you tell them that the purpose of the dining room is what, right? So I don't think so that anybody would say that भाई मुझे तो मजे करने हैं बेडरूम में, आई नीड टू प्ले गेम्स एटसेट्रा, राइट? सो देन you give them a cozy corner where they can, he or she can play games, but the main purpose of a bedroom is to sleep, to have peace, to rejuvenate yourself in night and come fresh in the morning. So you ask them that what do you think, that what kind of environment or what kind of feeling would give you that kind of feel, right? If husband and wife both wants the same thing, and if it is right for them, then there is no any problem, right? So in either of the cases, it is not like that dark thing or maybe dark bedroom will not give you peace, right? A good comfortable bed will give you peaceful night, but you have to have a conversation in such a way that you probe them, you ask them counter questions, you let them fight and come to a conclusion, and it is very therapeutic in terms of communication when there is difference in opinions. But I think communication and empathy will help you to get to a certain point where everybody agrees to a same thing.
So, was there any project or like the client had a very new or very odd requirement and you might have fulfilled that in your project?
For residential project, right?
Yeah, for residential. Yeah.
So in that 3 BHK, there was a thing where the wife was very much dominating about उसको वास्तु के हिसाब से चाहिए,
Okay.
right? And everything was as per the vastu, from entrance to kitchen and mandir location, everything, except the master room.
Okay.
Right? So as per the vastu, master room should be in south or southwest corner, but there was a common room in the southwest corner. It was not having attached washroom. So what we did, we broke the wall between the master room, which was proposed by the builder, and the common room, which was not having any attached washroom, and we broke down that wall and we converted into the single room, and we placed the bed into the common room wala area where the southwest corner was matched, and they used to sleep in that corner, and they used to have PlayStation and study area into the other corner, and that way we have managed their requirements.
Oh, that's like a lovely space design.
Yes, but so it has give and takes, right? You lose one room, but you've achieved everything you wanted.
Yeah. So what is your take on Vastu?
Vastu is something very personal to each and everybody, right? And I feel that the importance of Vastu to each and everyone is very plus minus or imbalanced. Few people very prioritize very much. Few people are, that's okay. I don't care, right? So I feel that if you believe in Vastu, then believe it in Vastu. I don't know whether Vastu is wrong or right, but I feel that you should not have doubt in your mind कि ये बनने के बाद में, for an example, we have done a corporate house or maybe few corporate house for the same company where we have placed the whole building into the Vastu Chakra.
Okay.
Right? Where account department में पैसे देने वाले अलग जगह पे बैठते हैं, पैसे देने वाले अलग जगह पे बैठते हैं, right?
Okay.
But one thing I can say that don't have doubt in your mind, because अगर आपने, if you have executed the thing and if you have continuous doubt whether these things is not as per the vastu and something might go wrong, and if you will recall back कि ये था and because of that only these things has happened, so it is like that, right?
You shouldn't have doubts in your mind.
Yes. Yeah. If you believe it, then believe it. If you do not believe, then don't believe. Just don't convince yourself in either of the things.
Yeah.
अगर मैं मानता हूँ and I convince myself कि चलो ठीक है, क्या ही होगा, right? And if I not believe in and मैं बोलता हूँ कि चलो कर लो, वैसे भी the second one is fine, but in the first one if I believe and I I only convince myself
Huh.
okay, this is fine, let's
Huh.
go with it.
Huh.
So that should not be the case.
Yeah, true. So earlier we had a talk about SOPs. So how difficult it is to follow SOPs in every project, and if not, what are the benefits?
By SOPs are very difficult to follow for every project because interior designing is very human centric field, right? At every step there is human intervention. It is not automized field. But yes, if you follow SOPs, then it is very helpful. In terms of client experience, if I say, then the biggest challenge for interior design is the certainty, right? Whether whatever we have envisioned will certainly be able to execute or not. So providing SOPs and giving 3Ds beforehand, giving certain communication to the client will definitely help in giving you the results in limited time with less energy and resources. And definitely there will be less changes, or maybe there will be no changes in the projects, because you have designed the project around the client's need and you have provided 3Ds and everything. So I think it is very important, it is very difficult, and it is very helpful.
So when it comes to new entrepreneurs, how can new entrepreneurs in interior design differentiate themselves in the competitive market?
In this time, in this competitive market, I think as an interior designing freelancer or a studio, you don't have to differentiate yourself. You just have to fulfill clients' needs and give them good interiors with the functional and aesthetic aspects. If you connect with the client on a deeper level, if you give them what they need, then they will definitely be able to appreciate it, and you will automatically stand out.
Can you share any insights on pricing strategies and managing clients' expectations for new interior design entrepreneurs?
I feel that whatever you are charging, always give more than what you are charging, right? So in terms of, I feel that you understate your services and you over deliver. That is the best strategy we follow, and we always provide a bit more value to the customers, whether they realize this or not. But at the studio, we have tendency to provide more than what we charge, and that is our pricing strategy. And everybody should have that pricing strategy, because if you see any successful, not only the studios but successful companies, they provide a bit more value, or maybe much more value to the clients or consumers than they charge.
What's the most valuable lesson that you have learned in your career as an interior designer?
The most valuable lesson I've learned is to plan ahead, right? And I feel that everybody should plan ahead. If you feel that something might go wrong, then it will definitely go wrong, and you should have a backup plan if it goes wrong. And yes, you have to plan ahead if you want to successfully deliver a project.
And always believe in yourself.
Definitely.
So, if you could give one piece of wisdom to the aspiring interior designers, what would it be?
I think there would be three things in it. First, focus on client experience, because you are not in interior design business, you are in lifestyle business. Second one is communicate well, because there is a saying that in our studio also we have big letters, and it says that communication work for those who works at it. And the third thing is be transparent, empathize with the client. I think that would be it.
So, are there any upcoming projects or initiatives that you would like to share with our audience?
See, projects will be coming and going, but there are two projects which are close to my heart right now. One is a training institute we are developing for very renowned Indian gigantic company at Krishnapatnam. And one is we have successfully delivered a project. It is almost delivered. It is an architectural project for of bungalow society with attached swimming pool. So it is multiple bungalows in a society, and every bungalow has attached swimming pool. And we have designed it from architectural to interior design, everything.
Would you want to talk about the planning of the scheme that you are talking about?
No.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. How can our listeners learn more about your work and connect with your company?
I feel that the best place to learn about us is through Instagram. We have regular updates on Instagram about what we do, how we do it, about our projects, about our studio culture. And if you have any questions or queries, you can reach out to us on the Instagram only. And yes, sir, we have right now our website designing going on, and soon we'll be live. So you can definitely, go check out in future, and follow us on website as well.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to have a talk with you. Thank you.
You are most welcome, and it was my pleasure talking to you on this platform. And I really much happy that you have invited me, and I hope that whatever experience or whatever I've said, it might help people in future. And if I've misstated anything or it is hurtful to anyone, I'm really sorry about it.